appealed for the cooperation from the general public towards achieving the Commission's accident-free society mission. There were questions and answer sessions. Most questions centered on how road crashes on the highways can be reduced to the barest minimum. From Gusau, Salamat Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara State has promised to make the 2020 Hajj exercise the best in the history of the state. The governor made the remarks shortly after receiving the 2019 Hajj report. Salamat Umar Abdullahi again reports.
Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara expressed satisfaction over the conduct of 2019 Hajj operation by the Amirul Hajj and other members of the committee, as well as the Zamfara State Hajj Commission for doing a good job. The governor also said the report will be studied accordingly and solutions to all the challenges faced during the 2019 Hajj operations will be corrected for effective performance this time around. According to the governor, local government registration officers who paid $8 instead of $800 to their pilgrims should consider themselves out of the state civil service.
Make sure that we push them out. We will get a better hand that will handle the operation of Hajj in 2020.
While presenting the report to the governor, 2019 chairman of Hajj Committee, who is the Emir of Gumi, Al-Haji Lawal Hassan Gumi, and chairman Zamfara Hajj Commission expressed their appreciation to the governor for giving them the mandate and full support to have a successful Hajj exercise. From Gusau, Salamat Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's all from this end. It's now back to Ifoma in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. An all-inclusive participation in governance, where concerned institutions are synergized to sustain Nigeria's democracy, political analysts say is key to building a viable nation that Nigerians will be proud of. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria made this submission while esraying the just concluded Bayelsa and Kogi elections. Patricia Esamiluba reports.
Elections will come and go, but the question on the citizenry's mind is what next? For this political analyst, Michael Kayode Ajayi, managing electoral victory is a fundamental process of democracy, as victory in democracy is the majority's choice, which implies that it is a victory for all.
When you talk of management of election victory, it depends much on the sophistication, the political sophistication and maturity of the winner. His ability to say, okay, the loser, come, let's discuss. Our objective is to develop the state. But my fear is the level of violence we are going into in Nigerian politics.
All the guests on the program agreed that it is pertinent for every election winner to take cognizance of the dynamics that promotes excellence. They also added that when politicians put Nigeria first and practice what democracy stands for, in no time, elections in the country would witness positive results devoid of the do-or-die syndrome.
One may then begin to suspect that it is the attitude of the Nigerian towards those systems and practices. How do we begin to change our approach to these things? I think that is very important. You can reform your constitution, review, amend your constitutional definitum, but unless you amend your attitude, you restructure your attitude towards doing things, I'm afraid it may be long before we can get it right, if at all.
So we need to strengthen, one, our electoral institutions. Two, we also need to ensure that if you win the election, try to bring about an all-inclusiveness in governance. Let there be participation by all, irrespective of you win or you lose. Maybe have a better idea than me, but because the electorate have voted me, I need to also have their input so that we can collectively put together and then move our territory to a better state.
It's important to say, yes, you have won elections, but you need to audit this your victory. You need to introspect and say, look, is this the way to go on? You can benefit from perfidy today, but what about tomorrow if the table turns against you? Then that pain that you talked about becomes very rife and strong.
The guests submitted that both the politicians and the electorates have a stake in the processes of election management and governance, as the opportunity to building a better Nigeria lies in the hands of all. In Abuja, Patricia Esamiluba, NTA News.
The National Youth Service Corps has reacted to insinuations trending on the social media that the scheme is not doing enough on the issue of unqualified graduates from some foreign institutions, particularly neighboring countries. The Director General, NYSC, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, reacted to this while fielding questions from correspondent Olayinka Ojo when he visited the NYSC FCT orientation camp in Kubwa, Abuja.
But based in 1 and 2, we made several arrests, and I'm happy to inform Nigerians that some have been prosecuted and jailed last week. And there were still more. For the 2019 Batch C, over 20,000 foreign trained Nigerians uploaded online for mobilization. Through our measure of physical verification, only 3,420 showed up for verification to show that we are doing enough. That's because they couldn't show up, because if they come, just as I warned them earlier, in the interview I had in several forums, that if you know you are not qualified, you have fake documents, please don't show off our Batch C. If you come, we'll arrest you, we'll prosecute you, and we'll jail you.
The NYSC boss also lauded the cooperation of all stakeholders at the recently conducted Bayelsa and Kogi elections at ensuring the safety and security of corps members who worked during the elections. About 1 million children are targeted to benefit from the ongoing measles and meningitis vaccination exercise in Benue State. Flagging off the week-long exercise at Bajimba Guma local government area, Governor Samuel Otom pledged to key into all national programs on health care to improve the health status of the people of Benue. Bem Anya was there.
Meningitis and measles are among the 6 childhood killer diseases that affect children under the age of 5, says the United Nations Children Fund. It is against this backdrop that the Benue State government, in collaboration with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and development partners, organized the flag-off of the 2019 Integrated Meningitis and Measles Vaccination Campaign in Bajimba Guma local government area of Benue State.
I'm particularly grateful to the federal government and our development partners for putting up this campaign at this time. It is very timely, and it is happening just before the season when these diseases tend to be rampant.
State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Sunday Ongbabo, and Executive Secretary, Benue State Primary Healthcare Board, Dr. Bem Agida, commended the governor for the release of 30 million naira for the vaccination exercise. There were goodwill messages from representatives of World Health Organization, WHO, UNICEF, Rotary International, and others, from Bajimba, headquarters of Guma local government area of Benue State. Bem Hanya, NTA News.
For Nigeria to overcome its present economic challenges, it is imperative that government at all levels pay attention to the manufacturing sector as a major factor in the fight against importation of substandard products. Imo State Governor Emeka Ihedioha made this known at the 4th edition of Emmanuel Iwanyawu Annual Lecture Series held in Imo State. Kingsley Ononiwu has the details.
The theme of this year's lecture series is reawakening and imbibing the culture of manufacturing enterprise, needful drivers for industrial development. Governor Emeka Ihedioha, who lamented the increase in collapse of infrastructures in some parts of the country, enjoined the engineers to live above board in ensuring adherence to engineering principles.
It will take you to change your course. It will also take your efforts.
Chief Emmanuel Iwanyawu and the guest lecturer, Professor Remi Uche, are of the opinion that Nigeria has all it takes to become a world economic power through the establishment of industry that can drive the economy.
Nigeria can be a world power. It's for us to sit down and don't look at our situation. It becomes of us to reawaken the Nigerian manufacturing sector, to stimulate, to energize this base sector.
Awards of Excellence and cash gifts were presented to the 2019 First Class Engineering graduates from across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country by Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu in Owerri. King Silionaniwu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong case for the nation's legislative and judicial arms of government to fully support the creation of Special Crimes Court to specifically handle corruption cases in the greater interest of the country, declaring open a national summit on diminishing corruption in the public service. The president insists that time has come for Nigeria to reclaim her traditional values of honesty, integrity, and hard work towards achieving sustainable future. State House correspondent Adam Musambu has the details.
Of the event was the public presentation of the report on the constituency projects tracking exercise by the ICPC, which corroborated the widely held belief that such projects are conduit for corruption. President Muhammadu Buhari noted with concern that in the past 10 years, 1 trillion naira has been appropriated for constituency projects, but the impact of such huge spending on the lives of Nigerians can hardly be seen.
The ICPC has my full support and the support of this government to hold fully to account contractors, complicit public servants, and project sponsors who divert funds meant for constituencies or other people-oriented welfare projects of our government, or who by other means reduce the quality and value of such public projects.
He described as delightful that through the effort of the ICPC, some contractors are returning to site to execute projects hitherto abandoned, saying, however, that the war against corruption cannot be won without prevention and enforcement.
This administration will continue to support anti-corruption agencies to recover all ill-gotten wealth and prosecute offenders. We will ensure that all fully recovered physical assets are sold and the proceeds remitted to the Treasury.
President Buhari explained that his administration is working hard towards bringing corruption to an end as existential threat to Nigeria, but this, he said, can only be achieved through effective collaboration and cooperation of all arms and tiers of government.
I therefore urge the legislature to fast-track the passage of the Special Crimes Court Bill to handle corruption cases. Passage of this bill is a specific priority of this administration's economic recovery and growth plan.
Messages of goodwill from the legislature and the judiciary indicate genuine support for a corrupt-free Nigeria.
The judiciary, under my watch, will never condone any act of malfeasance among judicial officers. I will do everything possible to stamp out every form of unethical conduct from our fold.
Over the next budget cycles, we will be systematically increasing the funding of law enforcement and other anti-corruption agencies. We will also be benchmarking their performances to ensure that value for taxpayers' monies are met.
The ICPC chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasonoye, had earlier made some shocking revelations from the agency's enforcement and corruption prevention actions in the public service.
ICPC will take enforcement actions, including recovery of diverted funds, name and shame, and prosecution of the most serious cases of infraction, while putting some MDAs on a watch list due to their vulnerability or the propensity to corruption. We recommend, sir, that diversion or non-payment or remittance of tax, of pension, health insurance, or any other statutory deduction should attract dismissal of the head of the agency and immediate prosecution.
During the event, 2 distinguished Nigerians, ACG Bashir Abubakar of the Nigeria Customs Service and Josephine Ugu of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, were presented the 2019 Public Service Integrity Award. Both were at several times tempted to be corrupt and compromise integrity, but rose above the greed and lure to become examples of integrity.
Your most honored servant reminds you of your promises. Promises? Yes, Your Excellency. Election promises? Yes, Your Excellency. Who remembers them?
From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
We now take you to our Ibadan Network Center, and Kemi will be our guide. Hello, Kemi.
And welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has flagged off the total reconstruction of 65-kilometer Monia-Iseyin Road at an estimated cost of 9.9 billion naira. Correspondent Ayomiku Ajibola has the details.
Describing the 65-kilometer road as an important one that can uplift the economy of the state, Governor Seyi Makinde said his administration is embarking on total reconstruction of the road as opposed to the planned rehabilitation by the immediate past administration. The governor stressed that he had paid 60% of the contract sum upfront, assuring road users that the project will be completed within a year.
You must employ our youth. We want Oyo State money to remain in Oyo State. By this time next year, I am coming to commission the road.
The road, which is close to the ongoing dry port project, when completed according to the governor, will aid the movement of agricultural produce and mineral resources from Okeogun area to the dry port for onward exporting. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Motorists plying Oyo, Ogbomoso, Ilori Express Road have commended efforts of federal government in the ongoing construction project. This, they noted, will reduce road crashes and difficulties being witnessed on the road. Lukman Hassan reports.
Road construction on the Ilori-Ogbomoso Expressway will go a long way in easing problems encountered by road users on the road.
Help the people working here to reduce the accidents occurs on this road.
To motorists flying the road, the gesture of the federal government is a welcome development.
This road has been there since Obasanjo's regime, the old one. And we are happy now that we will enjoy it.
And because this road, I don't believe that they can do work on this road again. Well, we thank God.
The federal government has fully captured the road in the budget.
1,800 roads were listed. The money that is available can only repair 500 roads. And the 500 roads, you cannot take it to only one section. You have to spread.
The motorists were of the opinion that articulated vehicles flying the road be cautioned to reduce the number of crashes witnessed on the road. Lukman Hassan, NTA News.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Al-Aji Mohammed Sahad Abubakar III, has asked Muslims in Nigeria to focus more on quality education and peaceful coexistence of all Nigerians. The Sultan gave the advice while addressing Muslims at the 4th General Assembly of Muslim Ummah in the Southwest, held in Ibadan, Oyo State. Rafi tells us more.
Muslim Ummah in the Southwest Nigeria were in one accord on issues that will foster unity, cooperation and collaboration of all Nigerians.
20 years of promoting tourism in Africa and diaspora. Over 3 million kilometers traveled. Over 30 African countries visited. Explored the diaspora in 4 continents. Connected over 100,000 happy tourists to Africa. Reached over 50 million homes. Igniting smiles across Africa and beyond. As Kogi Africa turns 20, we thank you and invite you to join us in the quest for 20 must-visit destinations in partnership with the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Transportation, Lagos State Government, Kana, Delta Airlines, Royal Caribbean, Tour Brokers International. You too can still be a partner. Call the numbers on your screen or info@gogeafrica.tv. Kogi Africa, celebrating 2 decades of heritage, travel and tourism.
You are about to witness the commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming soon.
Thanks for being there. The Nigerian nation has commenced the implementation process of the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, ASCON, is engaging rural dwellers through the local government authorities across the nation to ensure a smooth process. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
The target of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations is to reach the poor, the uneducated, and fight climate change, among others. This informs the choice of local government authorities in the quest for the implementation process.
This is done involving everybody, all groups, traditional rulers, the political class, the governments, the disabled, and each ward has brought out what are needs of that community.
And we are going to really implement the 17 agenda that were laid down for us in the SDG program.
Stakeholders are particularly concerned on how to engage rural dwellers in the areas of food security, quality education, poverty alleviation, and security of lives and property using local government officials.
If the implementation of whatever projects are going to be taking place for sustainable development, local government must, of necessity, be part of it.
They have to a kind of leverage to what we are trying to do. It's like a process. You know, they will go through it, and you see at the end of the day, it's a win-win thing.
The National Bureau of Statistics last week supervised the signing of bond among ministries, departments, and agencies for the implementation of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
Enugu is next, and Mina will be our guide. Over to you, Mina.
Many thanks, Ifoma. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. Enugu state government has played host to some African Americans who have traced their origin to the Igbo race in the southeast. The Black Americans who confirmed their Igbo origins through DNA test were given a warm welcome by the governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. Susan Eze reports.
Tears of joy flowed as the returning African Americans expressed joy to have found their roots. According to the President General Ohaneze Ndigbo, the returnees first visited Eri in Aguleri, Anambra State, the original cultural head of Umweri groups of the Igbo people, where the traditional rulers prayed for them and they were given Igbo names.
What you went to do in Umweri was to tell our forefathers that their own have come back. It was a very symbolic ceremony. What you've come to do here today is a political act to show our political leaders that you have come home to your ancestral home.
Tracing the origin of these Igbos in diaspora to the days of the transatlantic slave trade, Chairman Ohaneze Ndigbo, Enugu State Chapter, Chief Alex Obonna, expressed gladness that these descendants of the Igbo ancestors have overcome their identity crisis. Thankful to all those who made their return back to Africa possible, leader of the returnees saw this as a remarkable event for those of them looking for their roots.
Chief Naja and I have been working together. She does the DNA, I do the travel. And so we've committed ourselves to making sure that those who want to know.
In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
studies and trainings to qualify for practice in the field. But despite this stringent procedure, research has shown that the field, like every other profession in Nigeria, is equally bedeviled by activities of quacks. In this report, Jude Abugu takes a look at quackery in the field of medicine.
Quackery is common in Nigeria, as many fields of work suffer the activities of quacks, not minding the level of expertise required to be in the field. In the highly revered medical profession, known for its specialties, technicalities, ethics, and lengthy years of learning and training, it has been observed that unqualified persons are infiltrating the field. For instance, about 4 months ago, 3 hospitals were said to have been shut down by the Enugu State Ministry of Health for being operated by quacks. Apart from the practice by individuals that are not trained as medical professionals, other forms of quackery identified by experts include a situation whereby a trained medical professional becomes a jack of all trades instead of sticking to his or her area of training.
There's another professional quackery where people practice beyond the scope of their profession. A medical doctor is not supposed to be a pharmacist. A pharmacist is not supposed to be a medical doctor. A physiotherapist is not supposed to be a life scientist.
Respondents attributed the ugly trend to ignorance on the part of the public, poverty, poor regulatory framework, and low level of enforcement. They called for the support of government and security agencies in fishing out and prosecuting quacks in the medical profession, noting that activities of quacks wreak serious havoc to the health sector and often leads to loss of human lives. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Enugu. It's back to you, Ifoma, for a continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Mina. And talking sports now, Sports Minister queries national football team's performance. Kene Imabodike has more on sports updates.
In a bid to forestall the sequential non-qualification of national football teams as well as their below-par performances in tournament, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare Monday, demanded explanation from the Nigeria Football Federation while also ordering the provision of NFF's nominal role for investigation and verification.
Whatever we do today won't change the fact that we're out of those tournaments. What will be important is what we do going forward, and that is what I am about.
In table tennis, Nigeria's Aruna Quadri will not participate in the end of the year ITTF World Tour Grand Finals scheduled for December 12 to 15 in Zhengzhou, China, despite competing in several competitions this year. The 2019 Nigeria Open champion failed to make the cut after finishing 29th among the top 30 listed for qualification. According to the qualification criteria, top 16 singles players and mixed doubles are expected to make it to the 2019 World Tour Grand Finals. Athletes at the ongoing Abuja School Games have continued to display high-level performances as the events enter day 4 Tuesday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. Organizers of the Games expressed joy over the abundance of talent, most of whom are capable of representing the country in the future if they are properly groomed.
More schools begin to see the value of participation, and we just started here from Abuja. After Abuja, we hope to have events spread across the country.
The games are expected to end November 22. With sports update, Kenan Ima Abodike, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide for today. We thank you for watching. I am Ifoma Ojinta.
Social media is like a big notice board in the marketplace. What you put on it, everybody will see. One major definition of integrity is that
Welcome to Nigeria. A fascinating country. Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. A land of beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget.